Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. PokeChuck here. Just doing a little bit of a late night value search as to try to find a decent investment that currently exists in the market. I think I've found something. Um, I have mentioned in previous videos that I think Paldean Fates is a fantastic investment. Many people do. It's even ranked pretty highly on my categorical ranking video that I made a few ago, just under 151, and in the leagues of something like a Prismatic or most of Sword and Shield, and above everything else, and mainline sets and Scarlet and Violet. And I would, there's so much volatility right now. There's so much uncertainty. People are starting to kind of feel a little uneasy with where prices are, for products not even released. And I'm looking at Paldean Fates as probably the most underrated set to invest in right now, particularly in the PC ETBs. And what I've actually done was divide on every single set in the Scarlet and Violet era, plus Crown Zenith, little bonus. I divided the ETB price by the PC ETB price. So the ratio of ETB versus PC ETB. And kind of what we know is that the lower the ratio, the higher the PC ETB price is. So the more that product has realized its gains in this current market. For instance, 151 is really expensive. The ratio is fairly low, meaning the ETB is a lot lower than the PC ETB. Same with Crown Zenith. Same with sets like Paldea Evolved, extremely low, very high premium on the PC ETB, partially because of the promo, partially because nobody wanted to invest in it back when it was out. Same with Obsidian Flames, great Charmander promo. The Stellar Crown, I think it's just because that set sucks that they're both low. But then you look at sets like Surging Sparks, Twilight Masquerade, Shrouded Fable, which is, I have some thoughts on those three, and Paldea and Shrouded. I think, again, when the set is so bad that nobody wants it, it doesn't really matter. The price is essentially bottomed out at $56 for the ETB, $85 for the PC ETB. Pretty much as low as it could be for a product that you probably can't ever get again. Surging Sparks is very new. The price of the ETB on the Surging Sparks is very high. Currently, it's $111. The set is well within the reprint window. We've already seen kind of whisperings of potential, Surging Sparks rumors hitting PC, the PokemonCenter.com, potentially even this week. And the PC ETB is about $172. So if there was a reprint and let's say prices of that ETB went down to 80, all of a sudden your ratio looks a lot worse. So that leaves Twilight Masquerade and Paldean. Twilight, I actually think there's some pretty good value in this. It's a set that's a bit younger than Paldean Fates by about 3 months, and still well within the reprint window. You'll probably be able to find ETBs at some point. PC ETBs, I'm not sure about. So, we can expect maybe the prices on the ETBs to come down and at some point if there is a reprint of ETBs. Oops, 70 divided by 124. Oh, did it miss it up again? 70 divided by 124. Again, lowering that ratio down. But what's interesting is that Paldean is older than all of those sets at 1.25 years old, a year and 3 months. And ETBs were printed, I got one back in, I think it was December. That's kind of the last time that we saw them really printed in any amount of volume. We've seen a lot of booster bundles get printed for this set. We're not seeing a ton of ETBs for special sets be printed in volume, with the exception of Prismatic, which is really new. As far as 151 goes, that's, I don't think we'll see ETBs get printed again for that It's approaching 2 years. They're really just pushing booster bundles at this point. It kind of feels like they do the big products in the beginning and then they trickle in like these really highly efficient products where they don't have to have dice and dividers and things like that. With that being said, Paldean Fates, the ratio is really high, meaning the PC ETB is not that much higher than the regular ETB. And I find that really interesting because I can't imagine there are that many PC ETBs out in the world for this set. And, you know, I think people might be waiting to see what happens with the regular ETBs for this set. We've seen a lot of booster bundles come out. I think over the next year, there's a world where we don't see any more ETBs for this set. Or maybe they do some type of print, but it's going to get eaten up immediately. So I don't know. And when you look at the total set value, it is $200, over $200 more than something like a 151. Of course, it's maybe 5 months younger than that set. Things could change. But there is something to be said about this shiny Mew, the Bubble Mew. A card that has just not really gone down since it's gone up. People love this card. I would go as far as to say that I'm not going to call it underrated because it's $300. It's insane. But there's not really any other card like it in the era. And it's a cute card. It's Mew. It's a great art. And the whole community loves it. You know, you have basically in one of the best chases in an era. The Charizard, the shiny Charizard, is the best Charizard in the era. You know, the Gardevoir is an incredible card. These are 3 really, really strong cards for any set. And especially a special set. Now, the promo, which I can't remember off the top of my head. What was it? The Mimikyu sitting on the shelf or whatever, right? Yeah. It's a pretty good promo. I mean, Mimikyu's fairly popular. It's been pretty flat at like $40 pretty much the entire year, but you know, it's not as good as the Charmander. It's not as good as maybe some of the other ones, but it's pretty good. It's pretty solid. And look, I think this PC ETB has a lot of room to run. I find it really surprising that like they're not really selling that much. We've only had a few sold on eBay in the last couple of months, and on TCG Player, we had 2 sold today, meaning, you know, I think people might be waking up to the idea that this is a really good product to have. They're not making any more of them. It's 1 year and 3 months old, meaning at the end of this year in January, the set will be 2 years old. And I think right now, this is one of the best products that you could possibly buy and one of the best sets of the Scarlet and Violet era, definitely top 5 set. So, yeah, I think it's a good opportunity. I'm probably going to pick one up myself. And I think eventually attention will come back to Paldean Fates as a set that, you know, is relatively fun to open. I mean, the baby shinies are, you know, they're fine. Not as exciting as something like 151 where you can get any of these Pokemon, but dude, these three cards are sick, and there's something to be said for having an amazing chase card, Lost Origin, for instance. And it's a special set. You know, people like opening it. People like buying it. I wish I had more myself. And yeah, I think it's a great opportunity. Again, kind of just repeating myself at this point, but just wanted to kind of put this idea out there. The Paldean Fates is, we know it is great, but I think it's a bit slept on even at these prices right now. And I'm going to be looking to buy some PC ETBs of this, maybe around, if I can get $200, $205. You're going to be doing pretty well in this in the long run. I guarantee it. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. If you agree, if you disagree. You know, the ratios are listed here if you want to take a look. This is kind of just a data set that it's kind of a sandbox for me at this point. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this video or maybe any others, consider liking and subscribing, or throwing down a comment down below. Um, goes a long way. I really appreciate it. It helps me out. So yeah, looking forward to the next one. Later, y'all.